After yesterday's shelling, it was reported in the evening that there were several attempts to strike Russian territory in response. As a result, 3 people injured in Belgorod due to the operation of the Russian air defense system.
3 people were injured in the shelling of Belgorod. Governor Gladkov said that the air defense system shot down 10 air targets on approach to the city. 3 people were injured, they have shrapnel wounds, they were hospitalized. Windows were broken in 2 apartment buildings. Shrapnel also damaged several cars, one of them is in the photo.
Similarly, Russians shot down 2 drones in the Bryansk region, and deep within Russia, a Ukrainian kamikaze drone attempted to attack the Orelnaftoprodukt oil depot, hitting a fuel tank. Additionally, an explosive device in Nizhny Tagil was attached by partisans to one of the tanks that left the oil depot near the San Donato station. The first explosion was heard by the armed security personnel guarding metal weapons nearby. They inspected the area, found a damaged tank and another explosive device attached with a magnet on a nearby barrel. Now, let's move on to the situation along the front line, starting with the Kherson direction. The situation here has somewhat stabilized. The Russians continue shelling, but their intensity has decreased slightly. The number of offensive actions on the village of Krynky is minimal. But the Russians are attempting to use military equipment, although it doesn't significantly help them.
According to the situation in the evening of August 1, 24 in the area of Krynky. No change. Today, in the morning, for the first time in a long time, ours undertook an assault on the enemy's bridgehead with the support of equipment. And all this, as usual and as it has already become habitual, without air and proper artillery support. The result was predictable in advance. The assault failed. We have losses in personnel and equipment, 2 tanks and 3 armored fighting vehicles have been lost. You can't storm when the enemy has superiority in artillery and drones. Must not. But the epidemic of dementia and courage still continues to spread among the command staff in the Dnipro military headquarters.
As it seems, the mood among the Russians is perfect. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers have increased the number of attacks. They are now advancing in the areas of Verbove and Robotyne. 6 attacks have been conducted within the day. However, the Russians haven't achieved any results and the front line remains unchanged. In the Vuhledar direction, shelling continues along the front line, but the Russians are not conducting new offensive actions and the situation remains unchanged. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers carried out 17 attacks. They suffered losses in the area of Novobakhmutivka, leading to the cessation of offensive actions there. Attacks are ongoing in the area of the coke and chemical plant. It's crucial for them to capture this facility, but it is beyond their capabilities. Despite continued attacks, they are unsuccessful. The Ukrainian Armed Forces are destroying their equipment and manpower. Today, weather conditions have significantly deteriorated in this direction, with frost and snow. Meanwhile, in Belgorod near Odessa, the wind is so strong that it knocked down a wind generator. Therefore, it's unlikely that they will achieve significant success in the near future. The Ukrainian Armed Forces are also facing challenges in maintaining defense along the front line in the cold weather, so don't forget to show your support in the comments. Additionally, the Russians are advancing from the eastern side of Avdiivka, attempting to break through to the city. On the southern flank, occupiers are again storming Severne and attempting to break closer to Terny. Meanwhile, battles for Pervomaiske and Nevelske continue. In the Bakhmut direction, in the area of Bohdanivka, the activity has slightly decreased. The occupiers are conducting shelling, but there are no active assault actions. Perhaps they are accumulating forces for an attempt to break through the defense to Chasiv Yar. Further south, battles are ongoing in the Avdiivka area, and attempts to break through in the Klishchiivka area have resumed. All attacks are accompanied by shelling of settlements. The Russians haven't achieved success, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, shelling continues, but the intensity is not the highest, and no offensive actions are taking place. The situation can be considered stable for now, but there is still the possibility of Russian activation in this direction in the near future. In the Kreminna area, occupiers persist in their assaults. They haven't achieved success near the village of Terny and are now attempting to break through on the outskirts of Yampolivka. So, we await the outcome of the new attacks. The front line remains unchanged over the day. In the Svatove area, as before, it is relatively calm with minimal shelling and no attacks. But meanwhile, in the Kupiansk direction, there are renewed assaults on Synkivka. Over the day, 5 attacks have been conducted, but all have been unsuccessful. The Ukrainian Armed Forces have held their defense, and the front line remains unchanged. In the rest of the settlements, only shelling is reported without any offensive actions.
On Lyman Persii, the Russians carry out 3 rotations in 6 months. In terms of interceptions, the enemy's sanitary losses in units reach 70 to 80%, but there is nothing to be happy about. There is someone to change, and they will put pressure until we change the defense to an assault.
Meanwhile, Germany is on the brink of civil war. Today, protests by German farmers have erupted across the country, with promises to block exits using their equipment. Long-haul truckers have joined the action, and starting Wednesday, a strike will impact German railways. Dissatisfaction is also felt in the restaurant industry, as their VAT increase to 19% undermines their economic model. According to reports, Germany faces the threat of unifying various protests into a large general strike, and if this happens, the country is approaching the worst-case scenario before a civil war. And that's all for me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.